welcome to the Book Over, a little book club where we talk about books. I'm Sarah, and with me is Megan.
Hi.
And today we are talking about Kill Order. It's the last book of the Guild series, book 3, by Tate James.
Yes.
Can't forget that. I've been like skipping authors lately. I don't know why. I'm like, just zoom into the book. I actually thought that this was a really good ending to the series.
Yeah. Loved it.
There was some things I wasn't expecting to happen just storyline wise, but I'm happy it just didn't like zoom to the end, and that we had that like a couple of bumps in the middle that I wasn't expecting.
It like wasn't a wrap-up book. It was its own full book, which I really appreciate in a series. Yeah. Like, you know, they introduced so many like new characters, like her brother, her mother. I love that her mother wasn't evil. I mean, come on, who saw that coming, that the mom actually wasn't evil? Yeah. That was great. Like, what a great surprise.
I know. And her brother, I love him, that little guy.
Great.
I'm like, I want him in my family. Like, I just want that little like Spitfire little kid. Like, and oh my gosh, it was so cute. And I feel like that was perfect for like her to have this family.
Yeah, it like warmed her up. I think she needed that because she was so, solo, this honey trapper, worked the guild was her life, and like, the guild turned against her, and she's like opening up her heart to love. And I think it was just kind of perfect for where she was in life. And she even said like she wasn't gonna fall all over herself needing a mom, but it was nice to have one. So like the character evolved and changed, but she still was herself. Like, it wasn't that outrageous, which I really liked about it.
Yeah, and I feel like that it followed through all the way to the end. Like, there's even like what they said at the end about like having children, and how they like tried, and they realized that like her eggs weren't gonna work, and then they finally all admitted that they were actually kind of relieved. And I felt like that was just so true for like, even in that she was even surprised that like Kai was even like, okay, good, like, like, and it was like it fit, but it fit well. And so I was like, I mean, I kind of for Kai, because I know he really wanted to like at the first book like trap her with a pregnancy. So I was like, I think he would have made it. I think they all would have been okay parents, but I think it works out really well that they couldn't.
Yeah, I think for Kai it was more like he wanted to trap her. He thought that's what he wanted, but like once they had that settled life, I think they realized they didn't want anything to change. So I thought that was like the perfect way to do the no kids thing, because I feel like that was inevitable for a Tate James book, where that was going to happen, where someone was going to be like, I'm not having kids. And I think that made the most sense, because they are mercenaries.
I know. You forget that you're reading about mercenaries, and you're like feeling for them, and then you're like, wait, their job is to do not so good things. Like, you forget this.
Leon's literally a murder rabbit, which I love these nicknames.
Okay, Leon, can we talk about how awesome Leon is? I love how he's dying. He's literally dying. He goes to save them, and he like drives through into this warehouse, and he's like singing like a tune,
Taylor Swift Red.
Yes, and just killing everybody. And he's like, I love how he's like so happy when he's killing, and he's just like whistling along and like boom boom boom, and then I love like Kai like at one point witnessing him like, not only do they go like kill in the fight, but then he goes around and makes sure everyone's dead too. And I'm like, that's so smart. It's
just second nature to
do that. Like, make sure no surprises. And I was like, yeah, that's really smart actually. Like, I love him, and I love when Leon finds out Kai's name for him. And he's like, oh, that's perfect. Like, he's not even mad about it,
He's like, why? Yeah, he's like, that's a compliment. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
I really like this book that, well, first of all, I like when, members of, I guess it's not a harem of a menage, they don't, they're enemies. They don't start out liking each other, but I felt like, book 3, it actually happened quite naturally. This friendship, this kinship developed between them. Like, they both never, Leon never had a friend. I don't know, it felt very natural. It did not feel forced. It's a long enough book to where everything felt natural. And I'm like, okay, like they went from enemy. It's kind of like enemies to lovers, but with the dudes.
Yeah.
Like they bonded and it made sense. So I really liked their that chat that they had where they're just like talking about like weapons, like trying.
Right, where they're trying. He's trying to
Yeah.
small talk and get to know. Well, he's like gonna gift him, like trying to like he's like, he's a weapons dealer. Of course he's like, hey, what kind of weapons? I just could see the awkwardness of it. And Leon's not stupid. So he knows what he's trying to do. I loved that
Yeah.
progression of them literally from the beginning, like fighting
Mm-hmm.
to the end where they're like, okay, we're like a part of this relationship and we're family. It just it was fun. It was fun to watch those two. And I think what really helped them along was Leon almost dying. Like
I
Kai
think.
realized how important he was and how he would be sad too to see him leave. And
Mm-hmm.
so I loved that. I loved the race to save Leon.
Yeah, he was kind of the damsel in distress, and I was here for it.
I loved how like he beat them. Like they're in the office building, like hidden
Mm-hmm.
hospital, and then like they like are like trying to get, and then he beats them, and
In the
he's
car.
like dying, and he beats you guys. It was just like, oh my gosh! But that whole time too, I was trying to figure out who the leak was. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
somebody's tipping them off. Who? And I swore it was Carlos. I was like, it's Carlos. He knows everything. And then I was like, it's gotta be Jude. I'm like, I know we've seen her photos, but I'm like, it's Jude, people. Like, there's no way. It's Carlos and Jude. It's Carlos and Jude. I'm like, things are not adding up. And I honestly still feel like Carlos is involved. I'm like, because like I'm like, I still don't fully trust him. I don't know. I think because he's like dating Mo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there's because Mo effed up too. And
Yeah. I
I
thought I was thinking. I mean, Mo crossed my mind. Carlos crossed my mind until the scene, which again, I guess it's the scene where they went to that like fancy rehab hotel.
yeah.
At that point, I think during those scenes of seeing, I really loved that whole scene, by the way. I think that's when I started to trust Carlos. I was like, this relationship seems legit. But I also thought Jude. Then I started believing, okay, she's seen the pictures. And then I'm like, but they can doctor pictures. But I did think that she was dead for a minute, but I always questioned it.
I thought she
But
was dead for a minute. I was like, these people are too
Mhm.
smart to get played. And then I was like, because they even at one point talked about how you could doctor photos because they're trying to fake kill
Mhm.
um what's her
Danny.
name?
Danny,
Danny.
when they
Yeah. They're trying to fake kill Danny and they're like, well, we can't just doctor photos. We have to have like actual proof. And I was like, you guys just
and that
said
was
it
the
right
key.
there. And like
Hmm.
and like but like Carlos, I was like, he could be there to keep an eye on them, like when he was at the rehab place and he's
And
fake
he
helping.
and he was
He
the
showed
only
up out of
one.
nowhere. How did
And
he know?
yeah, and he visited them at Leon's place
So
before
I thought
Leon got
he's the
sick.
one that did it because and I know Tate set this up. Tate set it up because I'm like,
Yeah.
he like handed out drinks and stuff to everybody and
Hmm.
he just did a short visit. And so I was like, it was him. And then I was like, or it was Mo because Mo was obviously just did not like
Yeah.
Leon and was
Or Jay, because Jay was always shady.
Jay's shady.
But like, what a twist that Jay turned out not to be like he's like one
I
of
know.
the only
He's just
non-traitors. Like
sleepy.
everyone was a traitor in Kai's group, but Jay.
No, and Eli, right? Was it Eli?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
like him. I like him. And but I liked how he suspected stuff and he was keeping eyes on it, but he just wasn't saying
yeah.
anything. I loved when that came about. But yeah, the race for like saving Leon. But yeah, the whole time there's highlights. There's highlights, you guys. Where I'm like, what about Jude? And then I was like, or Carlos. Like every time I'm like, Jude or Carlos, because I was like, it has to be. So like when she wakes up and it is Jude, I was like, I'm like, there it is. And then, but then I was still like, but what about Carlos? I just don't trust him. I'm sorry, you guys. I just
Mhm.
don't fully trust him. I guess I need like
Still, after the book, you don't trust Carlos.
I
Really?
still
I was
don't.
like, maybe Carlos will get a story with Mo or something. But then I'm like, sometimes secondary characters are just secondary characters.
I'm just very suspicious of him that I just don't.
Well, maybe him and Mo are plotting. I mean, the book, so who knows? Maybe they're gonna be bad guys in some unknown Tate series.
I don't know. But okay. So the whole family thing too, like finding Danny's dad and all the connections and all her brother, like
Yeah.
the half brother, whatever you want to call him, and all that stuff. That was like crazy insane too. Like but it was really good. I'm happy that we had that like middle part of it. And then I really liked the guys bonding in that. I mean, I feel like that was my big takeaway. I felt like, and I don't know if you feel the same way, like I love Kai. There was a point where I felt like they softened him up a lot. And I think it's just because he's not like a mercenary. He's just the arms dealer. So he was very soft. And then there was a point where like we were reminded, hey, he is an arms dealer. He does know how to shoot a gun. He does know how to kill people. Because there was a point where I was like, he's really soft. And then I was like, wait, no, he's
yes, when they went
because we were in like Leon's perspective or something. And of course Leon's gonna like downplay him, because Leon's like the
he's like he's like ahead of the guild. Well, and then so they had that scene where he went back into his persona, which we really didn't see that persona since the first book, where he like kills somebody instantly. So I think we did need to be reminded that he's Aries, because he did it, because he softened up for Danny. He just like love got him good.
I liked getting that reminder, because I was kind of like, dude, like and then I'm like, okay, he is. But it was, I feel like it was good, like even getting like just some of the characters popping in and stuff. And then the ending, I love how they like the house in Echo Park, and how they're like the four of us, and she's like, who's the four of us? And it took me a second too, and I was like, oh, Stanley, you're like
I'm like, it was a reverse harem all along. Because Tate wouldn't label it. So I was like, okay, this is why she wouldn't label it, because Stanley makes a harem.
Right.
But I what I really did like, it felt like part of the book was like almost like a road trip book, because they were on this like race to save Leon, and they were hitting all these different spots, and they had the Sandman like stuff. Just it felt like they were just like traveling, dealing with different threats, all these twists and turns. It was a very satisfying, kind of like a spy movie mixed with a romance. It was really, really unique. This has been a unique series, especially in the romance genre, the multiple relationships genre. Mad props to Tate James. I mean, the cheesy pun, like just visiting, when they go to visit across and they go have like the cheese bar, the cheesy pun dates.
That was so I loved the cheese. I love the cheese. Right? The banter. There was some really good banter, and you know me, I love like it when the guys banter together and stuff. But even like, what to say, like Leon's inner thoughts. There was like a point where he went off on this. I think he was dying at this point, but he went off on this whole thing about seagulls and how he loves seagulls. Seagulls just take what they want, and that was like his like he could respect that. And I was like, okay, because like seagulls irritate me. Like here, like I'm in Southern California. The school playgrounds, like lunch areas, are always covered in seagulls. So you go down to the beach, they're covered in seagulls. They're just like rats in the sky. Like they're like going like pigeons, like to New York. Like they're like here. And so like I'm just like, seagulls aren't my favorite. But then to hear someone be like, well, they just take what they want, I'm like, I guess I could respect that. Like, that good for the seagulls,
This book like changed your mind about seagulls. That's like a huge thing. That's a big thing, actually.
Yeah,
that's like part of your daily life.
Yeah, I was like, good for you, seagulls. Yeah, I mean, because they do. They just take what they want. So I guess we all need a seagull lesson. But I just love Leon's inner thought about them and being like, okay, like they're pretty cool. Like,
we all need a seagull lesson. I love that. That's true.
You guys, be a seagull.
I like that. Be a seagull.
Yeah, I did get really sad when I heard that Leon like demoed his
house.
his house. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I knew we were
We're
setting up to
done.
getting a house because even like Kai's like, she's not gonna want to spend time here because she was like tortured in the basement, and like, and then Leon's like, I can't go back there, it's been compromised, and like,
Mhm.
so I was like, okay, they're gonna need to find a new spot, and I liked what they did, and I liked how the guy surprised her. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. I really liked that as well. That was a great way to end it. And then the epilogues were great with Mo, and I like that like she wasn't forgiven
Yeah.
like right off the bat. Like that made a lot of sense for the character, that it's like, eventually will happen, but it takes time.
Yeah.
So the twists, the turns, it was great, great,
Mhm.
great series. And I'm very curious. The new question now is who's Tate's new book about? And the obvious choice is who was introduced, this
Mhm.
book.
Oh, like Vinny,
The
the other gang guy, or are you talking about like Sabine?
No, oh no, 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 no. Oh my gosh, the one who steals.
Oh, him. He wasn't introduced in this book. He was introduced like the last book or something.
He was introduced in the
What's his
vault.
real name? Like John, Johnny? Didn't she call him
Yeah, I think
John?
it was like something very basic.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
loved him. I loved him. How he was like, I love how simple they are. How he's like, well, you didn't ask, so I didn't tell, or
yeah.
whatever. Like, yeah.
So when I
I
say
would be
introduced, I
horrible.
mean
I would be a
actually
horrible person like that because I'd be like, I'll give you all the information. I have so many words to say to you. And like, I would not be a
met
very good, stealthy, like mysterious person. I would be,
him. Neither would I. I feel
I would
you
be
there.
the diversion. I would be the person that come in to talk your ear off while somebody like, stole from you. Like, that's my job.
Okay, I can see that. Hey, that's valuable. That's valuable. I feel like I could talk somebody's ear off while doing something. Like that would be my thing.
Mm,
Like to yeah, like I could do both. But I think that that's going to be the next,
okay.
Kate's next book.
Oh, that would be exciting because he's very
That's,
intriguing.
but I feel like that's also the obvious choice. So I don't know.
Well, I think
I don't know.
Sabby might too, because she went under the radar. I'm curious on what her story is.
I think we're gonna get it. She said she has a lot in the Shadow Grove world, so I feel like hopefully we'll get her story. I think we will.
So
Could be
I was
wrong.
wondering with that gang. So the gang guy, what's his name? Because I just call him Vinny.
I
Um,
liked him a lot. Yeah,
is
with the
he
nerd.
from Hades? Is he from that series? Or
I don't. I think he was kind of. I mean, he might have been mentioned. It's been
okay,
but I think
so he's
this was
not.
more. Yeah. So I think she's definitely building a world here, and she loves to keep us guessing. I will tell you, when I came to guessing with the Hades, I was wrong. So I just feel like, what is it? Hermes? Is that what his name is?
Mhm.
I feel like that's the obvious choice for this new series, because she's already announced that it's like, thieving and stuff. So I guess we'll see.
Oh yeah, she did announce that, and he does do that. See, I read that, and I didn't put two to two together, but
Did you? Mm,
I also I think I was just like I just ended the book. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I wasn't
Mhm.
ready to like think about it.
But it might be too
No,
obvious. So
I
I
think
don't
that's
know.
good though. I
He
think that
does
could
that.
be it.
He
Oh,
does
that
that
was because I
though,
liked him. I
where
liked
it's obvious. I think he'll get a story, but I just feel like, she tricks me. She
him.
tricks me when it's obvious. Like I really thought Hades was obvious and I was so wrong. So who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
I'm
I'm down.
excited though. I'm
I'm
excited to
excited to
see.
see. Okay.
Yes. Which characters come back from the series. It's gonna
Yeah.
be fun. Because I
I
also
mean,
wonder if we'll get her brother, like growing up. Like
that's what I was
I
gonna
think
say.
I
If
think we're
we
gonna
get
get a
him later.
younger generation of all these Shadow Grove kids and like, adopted kid. I think there's gonna be
Because his friend, oh, what's her, Stella, is gonna end
yeah.
up in the circle. So I can
Hmm.
see him.
It might not be the end of the circle. It might be the end of like the guild, which I mean the guild is a circle, but there still could be more,
Yeah, yeah, I can
within. So
see that generation having one. That'd be fun because I love that little guy. I love him so much.
yeah,
And
he
what's
seems like a fun character.
Cohen? I call him Cohen. Is that how you say it? Because he's Cohen.
I think it was Cohen. That's what I thought as well. So I don't
That's
know.
what I call
I
him in my
asked
head.
Alexa and Alexa said it weird. So I don't
Oh,
I I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Cohen.
Okay, we're going with Cohen. All right.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited if you're right. I hope you are, because that would be really good for all of it.
Yeah, and it's gonna be MF, so I'm excited for some Tate MF. I don't know if
It's been a
Tate's
while.
done MF without co-writing with James and Eve.
I really liked that series, the Broken Legacy series.
Oh my God,
so good.
So good. That is.
Oh, sorry, spoiler. There's a plane crash. That was so good.
Oh, yeah, it really is. I know she's gonna do another co-write with James and Eve, but that one's gonna be reverse harem. So I'm like, oh, we're like switching it up. I'm super excited. So
it's not funny. Like, I'm like, gosh, am I bloodthirsty? Because I'm like, yes, they almost died, and I loved it. Like, and like tragedy happened, and I loved it, and like I need more like horribleness.
we're both bloodthirsty. You know, if we're bloodthirsty, Tate's bloodthirstier.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look at our murder rabbit.
Oh, I love him. I love that name.
Murdering people to red. Taylor Swift. I love it. I mean, what a picture.
I loved it. I was crying because we don't know the song, until after it happens, and then they're like, "Hey, were you singing that or whatever?" or saying it was blasting on. But I was just picturing him, just like happy as can be. He's just the happiest when he's murdering people, and it's
great. It's fantastic. She's made us love and laugh at murder.
I mean, how else are you going to deal with it?
True. Yeah. Fair.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the series.
Yeah.
We followed it. It was fun. It was good.
It was great. Team Stanley.
All the way. Seriously.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next time on the Book Over.
Bye, everyone.